Food. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot bring donuts with me to this session.
Yeah, future improvement. We just have to wait for Microsoft to deliver food as a service.
Right? Yes, that would
Yeah.
be wonderful.
Yeah. Good morning, afternoon, evening, insert date time here, wherever everyone is. From me in New Zealand at 7 a.m. So I've got my trusty coffee ready to go, and welcome all. So today we'll be discussing Azure administration, well-architected resiliency and observability with Sucheta. So welcome.
Thank you.
This session is delivered on behalf of the Azure Cloud Commanders Learning Room. So the learning rooms are essentially, I mean, you've in it, you've found this session, but they're a Microsoft Teams-based tenant community that exists from Microsoft Worldwide Learning to help people answer questions about certification topics, learning about Azure, and really is a way to share and run sessions like this on what people are quite interested about. So I run a meeting room called Azure Cloud Commanders, which is primarily focused on Azure administration, networking, architecture, more of the infrastructure layer, but we do have rooms around data, AI. There's rooms across multiple time zone languages. So definitely check it out at aka.ms learning rooms. And I know, like, if you're interested in chances for like 50% exam vouchers and things like that, we actually did a giveaway last week where we gave away three exam vouchers. So always keep an eye on those if that's of interest. Just some housekeeping. So this session will be recorded for the people who can't make it today. If you do not consent to being part of the recorded session, please disconnect your lines. Your attendees' names will be hidden on the recording. However, if you do come off mute or have your camera on or your voice, just be aware that those will be recorded. So anything that you may mention, like, for example, your name or company names, they will be captured as part of the recording, especially if you come off mute. And for those who can't make it or need to drop off halfway through, we'll be putting this recording on YouTube later, and the link will be shared in the learning room. This is an inclusive session, so friendly, welcoming. Just be considerate to everyone. We're all coming here to learn. Everyone's coming in from different perspectives, so just be aware of that. If you do want to ask a question, just raise your hand, or we'll raise the virtual Teams hand, and I will be monitoring the chat as well throughout this, so we can call it. But I think Sucheta wants to do questions towards the end, but I'll let that through. So enough about me. I'll let Sucheta introduce herself more. But we're excited. Thank you for coming and talking to us today, and happy to hand over to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luke, for the warm welcome, and I'm so excited to be here. Let me get started with sharing my screen first. Hold on, just give me 1 second. I want to do it right.
You're good. Oh, good.
Okay,
Well, the chat's already buzzing
you're...
about quantum teleportation and chicken nuggets. So we're in good hands here. We're in good hands. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today as we explore the world of Azure administration. And Luke and I were talking right before we started the session that this is a good successor to the Azure fundamentals learning that some of you may have learned in the last week here in Luke's room. So I'm glad to, that this has been a good timing and we are doing this Azure administration session here today. So the administration of Azure is a vital function in ensuring secure, scalable, and well-architected cloud environments. And as organizations continue to embrace cloud-first strategies, Azure administrators play a key role in managing, optimizing, as well as securing cloud workloads. But Administration is not just about provisioning resources, right? It also involves supporting well-architected frameworks, supporting reliability or designing for resiliency, and enhancing observability to maintain a robust and efficient cloud infrastructure. So in this session today, we'll dive into these critical aspects of Azure administration and basically how they contribute to a well-managed cloud environment. And here is my introduction. Although Luke gave you a little bit of a brief introduction, thank you, Luke. I'm a Microsoft MVP in Azure and security, and I have over 18 years of experience working in large global enterprise IT environments. I currently work in healthcare IT. I'm the manager of an endpoint engineering team, and I specialize in modern management and enterprise mobility, leveraging Azure and Microsoft Intune. And Microsoft Intune is a unified device management platform, if you have not heard about it. I hold 15 certifications across various Microsoft platforms, and I enjoy technical conversations around Microsoft technologies. So feel free to reach out if you'd like, and we can collaborate. So in this session, we will explore how to administer Azure infrastructure effectively. We'll start with understanding the term Azure administration, and then subsequently learn about its various aspects, resource management, security, performance, cost management, as well as how Azure admins leverage automation and AI in Azure environments. And we'll also explore how all of this aligns with supporting and ensuring that our cloud environments remain resilient, they remain well architected, and they remain observable as they evolve. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with key takeaways and questions if you have any. As Luke mentioned, I prefer to take questions towards the end. I may or may not be looking at the chat while I present. So yes, let's get started with the main question. What do you mean by administration of Azure, and what does it involve? Azure administration involves the management and maintenance of Microsoft Azure cloud environments to ensure optimal performance, security, and alignment with organizational goals. And there are some key aspects. So key aspects of administration include managing and maintaining cloud resources, ensuring that the resources are properly configured, deployed, and that they are functioning efficiently. Another aspect is enforcing security best practices, ensuring solutions remain protected, compliant, and aligned with the well-architected principles. Then we have the third aspect, which is enhancing cloud reliability by optimizing performance, monitoring the infrastructure, and also implementing resiliency measures. Yet another aspect relates to cloud governance, ensuring that Azure environments support business objectives while maintaining scalability as well as cost effectiveness. Now, Azure administrators are responsible for all of these tasks, which really makes their role essential in driving a secure, a reliable, and high-performing cloud environment. Now, the role and responsibilities of Azure administrators may vary across organizations. As an Azure administrator, you may serve as part of a larger team dedicated to implementing an organization's cloud infrastructure. You also coordinate with other roles to deliver, say, Azure networking, security, database, application development, and DevOps solutions. Some organizations may implement granular administrative roles, which may be specific to different Azure service areas. For instance, you may have security admins, you may have device admins. But then some other organizations may appoint Azure admins with granting them broader responsibilities. It is all mostly based on organizational needs or the organization's IT structures. And then we come to talking about the significance of Azure administration, right? Now, what is it? Will the absence of administration of Azure negatively affect your environments? Well, the answer is yes. Administration of Azure is crucial to maintaining or managing enterprise cloud infrastructures because it enhances security, right? Which means by implementing robust security measures, administrators help protect sensitive data and apps. It optimizes costs. Administrators track and manage resources to ensure efficient use of cloud budgets. It also ensures compliance. So proper governance and compliance controls, these help organizations meet industry standards and regulations. Administration improves performance. So continuous monitoring, performance management, these help maintain high availability as well as user satisfaction because the apps would be always available to users for use. And administration also supports scalability, right? Administrators ensure that resources can scale seamlessly as the demand changes or as business agility changes or to support business agility, basically. And Azure administration is really fundamental to the effective management of cloud resources, and that's the significance of it. Now, towards the beginning of an organization's cloud or digital transformation journey, a well-architected design is carefully planned, carefully implemented, but then maintaining that architecture over time is just as crucial. Ongoing Azure administration ensures that as the cloud environment evolves, future changes remain aligned with well-architected principles and preserving and enhancing resiliency as well as observability, because those are core focus areas of Azure administrators. Now, the absence of Azure administration would potentially create a cloud environment that is unsecure, is costly, inefficient, non-compliant, you name it, right? It may bring in significant business risks, including potential data loss, breaches, operational failures. Such things may lead to business disruptions as well as reputational damage. So it is essential to have robust administration practices for your Azure environments. And that's why we are here today to learn about Azure administration. And since I mentioned the well-architected framework, resiliency, observability, let me take a moment to define these terms before we move along, because these terms are fundamental concepts in Azure. They directly influence how Azure solutions are designed and architected to ensure security, performance, as well as efficiency. However, the association of these concepts with Azure administration lies in the ongoing maintenance, optimization, governance of cloud environments, which ensures that Azure environments remain aligned with best practices as they evolve. Because your environment definitely evolves as time goes, you increase your footprint of the environment, you increase resources, and it just gets complicated as time passes. So to effectively administer an Azure environment, we must consider these three key aspects. So first, the well-architected framework. This focuses on how you should design or architect your services and workloads in Azure. It is about applying best practices around architectures for things like governance, automation, and performance optimization right from the beginning. Next up is resiliency. It's about keeping systems running even when failures occur. Failures could be, hardware failures, network, service disruptions, And building in resiliency means designing for high availability, disaster recovery, as well as fault tolerance, which ensures continuity with minimal downtime. And then we have observability, which ensures that we have end-to-end visibility into our environment. We need that, right? We need to track our systems. Observability is about detecting, analyzing, and remediating issues before they impact business operations. So if you have that visibility into your environment, you'll know about concerns beforehand, so you can take proactive measures. And now that you know what these terms mean, we'll see how Azure administration supports these fundamental elements as we explore the key aspects of Azure administration in upcoming slides. You'll probably hear me use these terms more often as well going in the slides further. So what all do Azure administrators focus on? What do their day-to-day tasks look like, right? Azure admins have subject matter expertise in implementing, managing, monitoring an organization's Azure environment, as we learned. But this includes virtual networks, storage, compute, identity, security, governance, a lot of things. Now, the first aspect here is resources. So Azure admins do resource management. Administrators ensure that cloud resources such as virtual machines, storage accounts, networks, identities, these are configured, deployed, and functioning optimally to support their organization's needs. So that's resource management. Admins perform security management. They do performance monitoring. They ensure that the cloud solutions remain secure, performant, and aligned with organizational goals. They ensure on an ongoing basis that costs are optimized. They help build in and implement automation in Azure environments. Basically, automation or automation around deployment, configuration, and management of Azure resources. The Azure admins are really the gatekeepers of cloud reliability and efficiency, bridging technical capabilities with business outcomes. And the admins really act as the architects or stewards of an organization's Azure infrastructure. They not only manage existing infrastructure, but also anticipate future requirements, which is key. So they anticipate what is needed in the future and implement best practices basically for long-term success. The tasks and responsibilities on this slide, in my opinion, are the most critical for administrators to focus on as part of administering their Azure environments. So let's explore these aspects in detail individually in upcoming slides. And I'm going to start with resource management. Now, effective resource management is a fundamental aspect of Azure administration. Azure administrators' role extends beyond just provisioning resources. They are responsible for ensuring that cloud environments are structured, scalable, and well governed to support business operations and align with the well-architected principles. Azure administrators oversee the deployment, configuration, and maintenance of core Azure services, including virtual machines, storage accounts, databases, virtual networks, and identity and access management. Resource management involves tasks such as organizing assets logically using, say, resource groups, or deploying infrastructure efficiently through your ARM templates, Azure Resource Manager templates. And these are just a couple examples. But then resource administration also includes implementing proper Azure RBAC, role-based access control, to ensure that only authorized users have access to critical resources. Additionally, resource administration would enforce compliance and may standardize configurations using Azure policy or blueprints, helping to prevent misconfigurations and ensuring policy enforcement across the environment. So that's resource management. Next up, we have security management. Now, securing the cloud environment is a top priority in Azure administration. Um, and administrators play a critical role in safeguarding the data, workloads, identities, and ensuring that security policies and compliance standards are properly enforced. One of the key responsibilities is identity and access management. Admins implement RBAC, they enforce conditional access policies. Leveraging Entra ID, identity protection, is another facet to secure authentication and authorization processes, and so on. Next is, following a zero trust strategy, which plays a crucial part in security administration as well. And beyond that, security management involves protecting Azure resources through network security groups, for instance, your NSGs, or through firewalls, encryption, to prevent unauthorized access. And managing Azure Key Vault is another example to enable secure storage and management of secrets, keys, certificates, ensuring that sensitive credentials remain protected. Administrators are responsible for keeping the cloud environment resilient, compliant, and protected against evolving threats. And this is done by continuously monitoring, detecting, and remediating the security risks. So all of this falls under security management. Another key aspect of administration is performance management, ensuring that workloads operate efficiently. For instance, under varying demand conditions, say. Admins are responsible to implement observability. They continuously track system health and troubleshoot performance bottlenecks. Admins are responsible for monitoring and maintaining the Azure resources. They use Azure Monitor, for example, to collect and interpret metrics, logs, and alerts across various resources like virtual machines, storage accounts, networks. Administrators configure log settings, query and analyze the logs. They set up alert rules to, say, proactively detect and resolve issues. Tools like Azure Monitor Insights or Network Watcher, Connection Monitor, they help diagnose performance issues and ensure seamless operations. And these are really handy tools for admins. Performance monitoring automation can be achieved using Azure Alerts and Logic apps. And this reduces manual intervention, enables proactive responses. So this is also key for, or a key part of performance monitoring. Administrators may also leverage application insights to track application performance and Azure Service Health to maybe stay informed about service disruptions or maintenance events. And by continuously monitoring and optimizing performance, administrators ensure that the Azure environments remain resilient, their Azure environments are capable of handling business demands, and all of this with minimal downtime. So that's about performance. And then next, we have cost optimization, which is also a very crucial aspect of administration because cost is important, right? Now, effective cost management is specifically crucial in pay-as-you-go cloud models, where inefficient resource management can lead to unnecessary expenses, which is not good. Administrators play a key role in analyzing resource utilization, optimizing workloads, and enforcing cost control measures to ensure that organizations get the best ROI or return on investment. And to manage costs, admins leverage Azure cost management, billing, to track spending and set budgets. and review cost recommendations. They may also use Azure Advisor. It provides insights into underutilized resources, suggests optimizations, and that way they can reduce costs. And then strategies like scaling resources up and down based on demand, using Azure reserved instances, spot VMs, implementing budget alerts. All of these help optimize costs without impacting performance. So all of this is something that Azure admins or whoever is administering costs, they are continuously monitoring or they're after these kind of facets. And then additionally, admins can use Azure tags for resource categorization and cost allocation, ensuring that financial accountability across different projects or different departments, because you want to know which department is responsible for what cost. So by continuously monitoring and optimizing cloud spending, Azure admins help maximize the efficiency. They help prevent cost overruns and align the cloud usage with business needs. So cost optimization, in my opinion, is a very important aspect of administration. And then we have automation. So this is another important aspect of Azure administration. It is fundamental. Basically, automation itself is fundamental to any kind of admin tasks, as we know, be it on-prem or in the cloud. And then building automated processes also enables IT teams to reduce, the manual, not only reduce the manual effort, but also increase efficiency, also ensure consistency. And so this applies to managing your Azure environments. And so automation implementation is an important or key aspect of Azure administration. By automating deployment, configuration, monitoring, and remediation, Azure administrators can streamline operations, improve system reliability, and then focus on strategic tasks instead of repetitive actions. A major focus of automation is obviously infrastructure as code, IAC, where administrators use ARM templates, Terraform, Bicep, to define and deploy cloud resources, which they can do in a repeatable fashion or a consistent manner. Additionally, Azure Automation and Logic Apps allow for workflow automation, resource management, and automated responses to events. To simplify routine tasks, admins leverage PowerShell, Azure CLI, the Cloud Shell for scripting and automating resource management. And automation can further be enhanced with the use of Azure Monitor and Azure Alerts. But how? That is by triggering automated responses based on performance metrics and security events. And then we have additionally Copilot in Azure, right? So Copilot in Azure, it definitely helps administrators. Automation and administrative efficiency reaches a new level with Copilot in Azure. It is an assistant to the admins, right? So it can assist Azure admins by providing AI-powered recommendations and proactive insights. It can suggest optimizations. It can assist with troubleshooting. And this helps significantly reduce the time required to manage and configure your Azure environments for you as an admin. And with that, automation, is a key aspect, is what I'll say. And it's really essential in today's world to implement automation wherever possible. And AI just takes it to the next level and makes it easy for us. But then that brings us to the key takeaway slide here. So throughout this session, we kind of explored the core aspects of Azure administration and its vital role in managing and optimizing cloud environments, right? And by focusing on, resource management, security, performance management, cost optimization, automation, we can really ensure that Azure environments are secure, they are cost effective, they are well architected. So in a nutshell, Azure administration is foundational to secure, scalable, and well-managed cloud environments. And you definitely want to advance your Azure administration skills. If you are familiar with Azure fundamentals, this is a good next step. And to deepen your expertise and gain that hands-on experience, you can start with an Azure free account, which includes, I think $200 in credits for you to explore Azure services over like a month's period. And then additionally, Microsoft has comprehensive learning resources through Microsoft Learn, MS Learn. And I highly recommend exploring the AZ-104, which is the Microsoft Azure Administrator Learning Path. In that documentation, you'll learn in depth about Azure administration and the key skills to configure, manage, secure, and administer various functions in Azure. And upon passing that exam, the AZ-104, you'll earn a certification. So you'll become a Microsoft certified Azure Administrator Associate. So you want to check it all out, skill up in Azure, and Azure is consistently evolving, right? And staying updated is crucial. So you definitely want to keep exploring. And with that, I wrap it up. I hope that you're walking away from this session with a good understanding of Azure administration and some insights to enhance your administration capabilities. Thank you for being a part of this session and good luck with your learning journey, but I'm definitely up to taking any questions at this point. So feel free to bring them up.
Thank you for that, Sucheta. Thank you very much for coming and presenting to us today. Any questions in the chat? We've got a hand raised. Please feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat.
So the question I wanted to ask is where exactly would you guys put the weight of security on IDM as opposed to other facets of what we went through today?
Can you say that again?
Excuse me. The weight of security as far as Azure is concerned, how much weight does does identity management, identity governance part of all this? How much weight does that carry in the realm of the overall security? Is it more than others? Is it less than others? Is it almost to the point of being inconsequential at this point? The weight of security that it carries is what I'm asking. How important is identity management and governance compared to the rest of it?
I think security is always of importance, right? And you want to put more focus on security, specifically in today's world where we are getting inundated with attacks. But specifically for identity and access management, I think there should be a good amount of focus there because ideally, attacks start on endpoints or they start with end users. So as long as you have your identity secured, you have your endpoints secured, the attack surface reduces, right? So it gives you lesser entry points to infiltrate that system or to cause an attack. So I think, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, identity management, access management, device management, these are the areas where you really need to focus for security as compared to most of the other aspects. As far as administration goes, or as far as any security strategy goes. Zero trust is a good, framework to follow. And zero trust has so many different pillars, but then it has different aspects where you secure your networks, you secure your endpoints, you secure your users or identities. And every organization may have different focus areas for where they want to start, but that's just like where they want to start. Eventually, I think they would want to secure from every aspect. But then, yes, securing identities, securing endpoints, is really, really crucial, because that's where attacks would start. And that's just my opinion, but organizations may have their own governance strategies, their own security strategies, and it depends. Some organizations like healthcare may be more sensitive to how they want to do their security strategies. So they may have a different opinion about what they want to secure more or what they want to secure first. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Yeah, I just want to add, like in the on-premises world, you kind of had the three-tiered models, right? You had the account that was used to connect to your endpoint, so the device you're connecting to, whether it's domain joined or otherwise, and then you would have like a server administration account, and that would usually have domain admin privileges or server admin privileges. I think from a weighted perspective, like security at the identity, 100% right. That's kind of that's the foundation you need to almost build the rest of the services. There is some really good guidance that Microsoft does have, and I hate just going, here you go, here's a Microsoft doc, but there is this, like, so I'll put it in the chat, but have a look at the privileged access workstation documentation, and ideally you would have fully fledged, isolated VM or workstation that you would use to connect into the cloud and other things. But I haven't seen many organizations do it because the practicality of it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But there is some really good guidance here around your identity, like, so the user access versus the management and data plane access versus the control plane. What I don't personally like organizations doing is having the same account that has access to everything for email, OneDrive, logging into the computer, and then also having like Azure owner access as well. Like, especially, so definitely separate out accounts at least that way, and conditional access is your friend. But like, yeah, for me, I think getting the identity right, getting conditional access right is key. But like, as you said, it really depends on the industry, the organization, and the maturity, because sometimes you just can't turn up to an organization and roll all this stuff out. You have to kind of build that up. But there is some great documentation here around privileged access, and there is also CISO workshop as well. There's some really great cybersecurity reference architecture. Slides that I'd recommend you actually just download, because they kind of go through some of the zero trust and the DevSecOps and stuff like that as well. So it's really great. Just look at the slides, go through them, and give you some ideas from a security perspective. But sorry, I was just sort of taking over, but I thought it was worth calling out.
Yeah, no, these
It
are good
absolutely was
resources.
worth it. Thank you.
Yeah, these are fantastic resources to explore.
I'm actually bookmarking them now. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Sucheta.
Yeah, it's. Any other questions before we end this? Azure administration is a huge topic.
Yes, and that's why I had to put it concisely without going deeper into just one of them. But then it really covers the whole Azure platform, right? Just like how the Azure fundamentals covers everything, but fundamentals is just where you're just touching the tip of the iceberg. You're just trying to understand the different terminologies and the different things that Azure holds. But then when you talk about administration, it goes a little deeper. And then again, you have to give an overarching view of everything that falls under an Azure environment. And it's difficult to pick and choose which areas to focus on.
Yeah, Aidan Finn, who's I believe he might be in the UK, but don't quote me on that. but he is a Microsoft MVP for who does networking. So very clued guy on Azure networking. So if you're interested in Azure networking, definitely look him up. But he said something in a LinkedIn chat the other day that kind of stood with me. It's like the cloud or Azure is not where you work, it's how you work, which is essentially the topic today. It's how you work. It's
Right.
the methodology of how much permissions do you give other people to do your job? And there's a whole other talk about like decentralized versus centralized operational models and stuff that I'm sure could be an entirely different talk, but
Yes.
I think
yes, for sure. I'm going to
there's no
put
other
here
question.
some links to the AZ-104 if you don't have them already. I think I saw Luke put some, but just put what I have.
And for those watching the recording, I'll put them in the chat. I'll put them in the comments as well. Awesome. Thank you, Sucheta, for coming and presenting to us today. Thank you for the questions, the engagements in chat. I'm sure if people have any further questions, they can reach out to you on social media.
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to reach out, not just for Azure or administration, but also for Microsoft Intune if you have questions about that. That's another focus area of mine. So
we'll have to do a session on that, but yes.
Yeah, we will, for sure.
But thank you very much, and thank you everyone for attending today's session.
All right. Thank you all for listening and joining in. Thank you, Luke. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.